Hey everyone, Vigilante Reviews here with a review of Solo, a Star Wars story. So, there has been a good amount of controversy surrounding this film. And specifically what comes to mind is the videos by Ethan Van Sciver. He promoted a boycott of the film. He's not participating in the boycott, but he did promote it, just because he didn't think it was going to be a very good movie, and even after he saw it, he still felt the same way. It was like, just don't waste your money on this. There's plenty of other channels too that have come out, I guess, condemning the movie, and the toys and everything, pretty much anything to do with this movie, they've bashed on. And I was one of them. I thought it was going to be a very SJW soy boy toxic masculinity type of movie. But I went and I saw it last night. We got the tickets before any of the boycott stuff came out, before the whole Lando is pansexual thing, anything like that. So I had already kind of committed to seeing it before I even really knew that there was going to be so much hubbub about it, which I agree with the hubbub. It's like, if it's going to be that kind of a movie, then I definitely think people should boycott it. Or at least, like Ethan Van Sciver has said, and Zach from Diversity in Comics, they don't so much support boycotts, they support boycotts. So focus on buying what you like, not so much on not buying something or not seeing something just because you don't think you'll like it. If you want to, of course that's fine, but yeah, kind of think the same way. Focus on buying what you like, spending on money what you like and what is good, instead of focusing on not spending your money just because you don't want to support it, which again, I've totally done that before with various companies and whatnot. But in this case, I just went ahead and saw it, even though I didn't think it was going to be very good. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into the review now. Major spoilers ahead, so this is your final spoiler warning. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so as you can see, I've kind of made a little chart here. I'm gonna write down what was good about it, what was bad about it, and then we'll see if we can come up to a conclusion on whether y'all should go see it or not. So to start off with, the first thing that really sticks in my memory was so it starts out on Corellia, where Han Solo is from, and that was interesting and cool. The setting was pretty cool, so I'll give that a good thing. Corellia. Corellia was good. So Han Solo is trying to get away from some people because he stole some data or something, or maybe it was I think it was coaxium, which yeah, it was coaxium, which is actually one of the main plot devices in this film. But basically, it's fuel for spaceships in Star Wars. Coaxium fuels spaceships, or I think it might just fuel the hyperdrive, something like that. So anyway, Han Solo stole some of it, and he stole it for so basically on Corellia, there's this, it's the main like crime boss is this weird bug-looking water-dwelling creature named Proxima, and she was weird, and I didn't really like her. Her voice was weird. She just sounded like an old lady, and I was like, okay, I don't think she would be this kind of a crime boss. And just her whole design, I don't know. I thought it was weird, and it looked kind of dorky. So I'm gonna put that under bad. Proxima. Yeah, didn't like her. So yeah, he right before he gets caught, he slips it to his girlfriend, and her name was Kira, I think. Q''IRA, something like that. So he, gives it to her, and then he, is captured, is brought before Proxima, and he's like, sorry, I, had to get rid of it because the Empire was going to search me. So basically, like, it was a kind of a copy of the Jabba the Hutt scene plot in A New Hope, with Han Solo having to drop his payload and whatever. So anyway, she gets mad. He comes up with a plan. He escapes. Yeah, I'm not going to go into that scene in too much detail, but anyway, so yeah, he escapes, goes and finds his girlfriend, and they run off in a speeder. They're being chased by Proxima's henchmen. That whole chase scene was alright. Yeah, I'm not gonna put like mediocre things on here, just what was really good and what was really bad, I guess. I came up with this whole idea because I couldn't think of anything else to film while I did this review, because I don't have any fancy screen capture technology or really even any editing software. So this is what I came up with. So that's some good old Crayola markers there. So yeah, right off the bat, I was kind of looking for things that were SJW, or things that kind of made Han Solo look like a soy boy and not very masculine or anything like that. And I gotta say, I did not see much of that. There were a couple things here and there. It was kind of like, okay, that's goofy, or that's not Han Solo. But for the most part, in my opinion, it was a good rendition of Solo as a kid. Star Wars Theory, he did a review on this, or at least a brief review on this, and he said, if you just put aside that it's no longer Harrison Ford playing Han Solo, and you just kind of think of it as a younger Han Solo, not necessarily the same character that we saw in A New Hope, because he's not the same character. The character in A New Hope is a little bit more hardened. He has a little bit more experience under his belt. Solo was about Han Solo's first experience of smuggling. Really his first experience that led to him becoming this kind of hardened, street savvy, very cocky person that we see in A New Hope. So this Solo is younger. He's less refined. He still has like hope and aspirations and everything. He has dreams. He hasn't he hasn't faced the harsh reality of love yet. Well, I mean, he does in this story, but the story's kind of about that, or it's at least a subplot of that of this movie, is him kind of discovering heartache and everything like that. So yeah, let's see. Continuing with the story, he and his girlfriend, they make it to the spaceport. He persuades an Imperial officer to take the coaxium in exchange to let them through the gate without their ID passes. But right as Han is going through the gate, he has Kira by the hand. She gets ripped out of his grasp by some of Proxima's gangster goons. And then the gate shuts, separating Solo and Kira. And of course, she just tells him to leave and go, and he tries to get back to her, but yeah, he can't, so he decides to just go join the Imperial Navy so that he can be a pilot. And that's the last scene we have on Corellia, is where he joins the excuse me, the Imperial Navy. And at first when I in the trailers it showed him being an Imperial pilot, or it alluded to him trying to be one or something like that. I was like, what? That's dumb. Solo would never make it in the Empire. He's just too bullheaded, and that's just not his character. He's not a Imperial anything. And so after he signs up for the Imperial Navy, which actually was a really cool scene, it explains how he gets the name Solo as the last name. The Imperial officer is like, what's your name? And Han says, it's Han. And the Imperial officer says, and what's your last name? Where'd you come from? Who are you from? And he's like, I don't know. I don't have anybody. And so the Imperial officer looks up for a minute, and he thinks to himself, and he's like, Han Solo, and he just punches that in. And it was a cool way for him to get that last name. It's kind of like, that's a convenient last name for somebody like Han Solo, and it explains it pretty well. I like that explanation, so I'm going to go and put that Solo namesake. So, gosh, this marker's dying. This is probably a 10-year-old marker right here. Probably. And it's writing like it, too. So anyway, he didn't make it as a pilot. He ended up being transferred to the ground units, the excuse me, trench fighters on the front lines, fighting the beginnings of the Rebel Alliance, it's kind of interesting. At first, I wasn't sure if I was gonna like that. He's like, yeah, why? Han Solo would not fight against rebels. He is a rebel himself in spirit. He wasn't officially like a member of the Rebel Alliance or anything until much later, but I did think it was interesting to see him on the other side fighting against them. So anyway, he runs into this guy. He ends up being, his name is Beckett, something Beckett, I don't remember his first name, but he joins him in his little group. They were infiltrating like the Empire to steal their ship, and so anyway, he joins up with them. But before that happens, so he kind of runs into them. Beckett turns him into the Empire as a deserter. They believe him, and I guess deserters get thrown to the Beast. So kind of like a Rancor type deal from Return of the Jedi. And so yeah, he gets thrown into this pit, and lo and behold, the Beast is Chewbacca. And I actually like that too, the way they meet up. So Chewbacca meets Han. A little bullet point. There we go. So yeah, that was well done. One thing I didn't like about this scene was Han Solo. So yeah, basically Chewie is beating the crap out of Han Solo, and like he's choking Han and is like gonna suffocate him, but Solo's able to let out this Wookiee growl. I guess he said wait or something in Wookiee knees or whatever you say, whatever you call it. And it was just awkward because it was it totally sounded like, you know, when people say, "Oh yeah, I can do an impression of Chewbacca," and then they make that weird gurgling noise like or something like that. It's like, no, you can't. I'm sorry, you're just not Chewbacca. That's what Han Solo sounded like. He cannot impersonate Chewbacca very well, but apparently humans can communicate to Wookiees using their own language, which has never been seen before and hasn't been seen since. And I don't know, I thought it was weird. So here, we'll do this. Han speaks Wookiee. There we go. And so up to this point, I still haven't seen any really SJW or Soy Boy, anything like that from Han Solo, or really any of the male characters. And there haven't been really any female characters either. Of course, Han's girlfriend, but she seemed just like, you know, a normal person. She didn't seem like some kind of feminazi or anything like that. So yeah, I'm gonna kind of rush through the rest of this because I don't want this to be a super long video. But basically, let's see, I'm gonna hit the main points, and you can look up other reviews. Like Star Wars Theory did a really good job of explaining all this. I really liked the Han and Lando scenes; those were really good. We see like their first match together where they gamble for the Millennium Falcon, and Lando cheats and he ends up beating Han Solo, but at the very end of the movie Han Solo wins it. Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to make a complete list like I was hoping, but yeah, in all, I would say there was definitely more good than bad. My favorite part of the whole movie, I think, was Darth Maul. Yes, Darth Maul is in this movie, and he was awesome. Ray Park, I think is his name, Ray Parker, something like that, reprised the role. You know, he was originally him in Phantom Menace. What was interesting, though, is that he didn't voice him. The guy that voiced him in the Clone Wars series did his voice. So that looked a little weird. I didn't think the footage looked that great, but they both just did a really good job of, like, acting. I guess they just kind of didn't line up Ray Park's mouth movements with Sam, I think it's Witwer, something like that. They didn't do a good job of lining up the dialogue, and I don't know why they just didn't have Ray Park, like, do the voice, but, you know, it is what it is. But that was an awesome scene. The twist right there at the end was amazing. So yeah, overall reactions, I guess this is more of a reaction video than a really review. My reaction is that I like it. I didn't like the robot LL338, something like that. She was supposed to be like a social justice warrior robot, which is like, okay, robots they're not really supposed to be like intelligent beings. They are created. Everything that a robot does has been programmed. It has been programmed to do. Their personality has been programmed into them. They don't have free thought. And that's what they were kind of trying to do with this robot, to, like, give robots free thought. And she's like, you know, service droids are basically like slaves in this movie. Which is like, okay, that's, whatever. I lived with it. And actually, what was kind of nice is that Lando, like, would roll his eyes at the robot. It did kind of seem like he had, like, affection for LL38. Which was a little strange, you know. And I don't know if that's where, like, the pansexual thing came in. But, I mean, it was just more like he was losing a friend when she got, like, blown to bits. Not so much it wasn't so much that he was actually in love with the robot. It's just he was losing a friend, and that's why he was sad when she died. Let's see, what other big things were there? Let's see. The whole thing with the whatever they're called, there were these Marauders that followed around Beckett's crew to try and like steal scores out from under them. And later in the movie, it's revealed that they're like freedom fighters, like a young part of the rebellion who have all been wronged by the Empire, and so they banded together and they like try to mess up the Empire's plans. And I was like, yeah, okay. I actually saw that coming. Like when the main Marauder takes her helmet off and it's a girl, I was like, yeah, totally saw that coming. But it is what it was fine. I just didn't see a whole lot of like soy boy SJW stuff in this. I know I didn't see the original trilogy when it first came out, but I did see that first. I did see the original trilogy before any of the others, and I'm a very conservative guy, Like, I mean, look right here. I've got my Dremel and everything right here. So, I'm definitely a cis white male, and I didn't have a problem with this movie. It was just a younger, less experienced version of Han Solo, and there were a couple times when he would, like one time he jumped onto the train that he was gonna hijack, that they were hijacking, and he was like, ugh, I'm okay, I'm fine, because he kind of like messed up the fall. And it was like, you know what, okay, would the real Han Solo say that? Probably not. But hey, it's just a young version of Han Solo. And you know what, I actually walked out of this movie feeling kind of cocky after this, because like you kind of see Han Solo get a little bit more cocky and confident as he continues to grow, which I think is good. It was, Han Solo wasn't born with this cocky attitude or his cynical attitude. It developed over time, and that's what this movie kind of shows. And kind of his reservations with women. He's not really that great of a ladies' man. And that, I've never seen Solo as like a ladies' man. He kind of thinks he is, but he's really not. And this story kind of shows, his first experience with heartbreak and everything like that. Yeah, I thought it was awesome and fantastic. And at the very end, Beckett, he has to shoot Beckett. They are in his standoff. And ironically, Beckett's the one that gave him his blaster. And, they're just kind of standing off. Beckett is talking, and it, shows his hand going down, Beckett's hand going down to his side. And he's like this super good gunslinger. But before he even clears leather, as they say, Solo shoots him. Just right in the chest. And I just thought it was kind of funny. It was like, yep. The writers of this movie definitely agree that Han shot first. That was just my own personal takeaway from it, but that's kind of how I felt. It was like, yep, Han shot first. Definitely. So yeah, I liked it. Like I said, I left the movie feeling a bit like a little bit emboldened, I guess. I don't know, kind of cocky. Like kind of like I wanted to be Han Solo. I want his little dice that he hangs from whatever vehicle that he steals, or I guess now it's in the Millennium Falcon. Yeah, I just felt like a lot of nostalgia-ish. It was cool seeing a young Han Solo, seeing the Kessel Run. That was fantastic. So yeah, again, overall, I just thought it was a great movie. And there were also like scenes of like some pretty intense kissing between Han and his girlfriend. So it's not even like they were trying to make him super like gay or anything. Excuse me. Because he definitely he clearly enjoys kissing women. Let's just put it that way. And let's see. There's always goofy things with Star Wars, like the scene where he meets Paul Bettany's character. Paul Bettany was really cool in this movie. I didn't know he was going to be in it, and it was so cool to see him in it. But yeah, Paul Bettany was in it, and he played like the gangster guy who had his girlfriend captive. Or I guess more of like a mob boss. He wasn't like a gangster. He was a mob boss, a crime syndicate lord, really. But yeah, that was a really cool character, and at the end it shows how he outsmarts everybody else in the room. He outsmarts Bettany, he outsmarts Beckett, he outsmarts his girlfriend. Han Solo does, I mean. And it was a good movie. I would definitely see this again. And to me, it's my favorite Disney Star Wars movie. I like it a ton better than The Last Jedi. They actually, left the character with some dignity. Which I think Ethan Van Sciver said that, they kind of took away Han Solo's dignity, but I disagree. I liked Han Solo. And even though he doesn't really look or sound like Harrison Ford, Aldrin, whatever his name is, the guy that played Han Solo, I think he did a good job. He was a good actor, and if you can just thinking to yourself, okay, his voice just hasn't gotten rough yet, and he's still growing. He's still his growth plates haven't fused yet. I think he gets away with being Han Solo, and I now see why they did cast him. At first, I was like, "This is dumb. Why would they cast somebody who didn't sound like him, who doesn't look like him?" I was very frustrated beforehand. But see, this is just an example of when they make a movie well, and it exceeds expectations. I'm willing to admit that it was good. Because with Black Panther, I went into that kind of with the same mindset that I went going into this. And even more so, I was trying to focus on being positive. This, I was okay, even if I'm critical of it, it'll make a great roast video, which I know this hasn't been. But, whenever I tell somebody I didn't really care for Black Panther, they're always like, well, that's just because you're white. I'm like, no, that's not why. It just was not that great of a movie, in my opinion. I know some people liked it, and that's great for them. I didn't. Same with this. I know some people really didn't like it, like Ethan Van Sciver. I did. I liked it. I agree with Star Wars Theory on this one. It explained a lot of cool things. I really, really am interested to see what they do with Darth Maul and Kira, because it's revealed that they are actually working together. So I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see what happens next with this character, which is something that cannot be said for the characters in The Last Jedi. I don't really care what happens to Rey. I don't really care what happens to Kylo Ren. The two characters that I really cared about, Luke and Han, are now dead. The only thing that would pique my interest would be if it was revealed Obi-Wan or Anakin were coming back as a Force ghost. Besides that, I don't really care what happens. I don't give a rip about episode 9. I really don't. I'm much more interested to see another one of these. I also like this better than Rogue One. I actually cared about the characters this time, whereas in Rogue One I didn't. I was not sad at all when they all completely got destroyed. And you know what? And they still managed to slide a lightsaber into this. Darth Maul ignites his altered lightsaber, which was super cool. I know a lot of people will probably be confused by Darth Maul being back, since and if you aren't really that big of a fan and haven't seen the Clone Wars, you might be confused by that. But Star Wars Theory is gonna come out with a video on that, so you should go watch that one. And I might do a little explanation video on here too. We'll see. No promises though. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up by saying go see Solo: A Star Wars Story. I really liked it. I thought it did the character of Han Solo justice, and it's just a fun movie. I don't think it's really preachy. It kind of seems like they actually made fun of the SJW character in here, the robot. the characters just kind of like would laugh at her. So that was kind of actually cool. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Let me know if I missed anything that you really liked. Let me know in the comments. Yeah, the way Han Solo gets his blaster was cool. And yeah, I just thought it was really cool. Again, I think the coolest part was Darth Maul. And yeah, I think that's where I'm going to end it. So if you like this video, please consider giving it a like. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe. And let me know what you thought of Solo: A Star Wars Story. If you go and see it, I would love to know your thoughts. And again, if I missed anything, I apologize, but I didn't write anything down for this, so I'm just kind of going off the top of my head. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.